What are icons? An icon, from the Greek ikon, simply means image. In the Orthodox Church, icons depict Christ, the Theotokos, Mary the Mother of God, saints, angels, and scenes from Scripture. They are written, not merely painted, in a symbolic, prayerful style. Large eyes for spiritual perception, thin lips for silence, inverse perspective to draw the viewer in, golden backgrounds presenting divine light. Icons are used in liturgy, in homes, and in personal prayer. They are not worshipped, they are venerated as sacred images to point to the divine. According to sacred tradition, the first icon writer was Saint Luke the Evangelist, author of the Gospel of Luke and Acts. He is believed to have painted the first icon of the Theotokos in the Christ, and when she saw it, she said, "May the grace of him who was born of me be upon this icon." Saint Luke also depicted Peter and Paul and is considered the patron saint of iconographers. He was eventually martyred for the gospel he preached in the image of Christ he revealed, not only in word but in paint. In the first centuries of Christianity, amid Roman persecution, Christians began to depict biblical scenes and symbols in the catacombs. We see Christ as the Good Shepherd in the hospitality of Abraham, an Old Testament moment that foreshadows the Trinity. After Constantine legalized Christianity, iconography flourished. The Byzantine Empire developed a rich icon tradition. One of the oldest surviving icons is Christ the Pantocrator from St. Catherine's Monastery at Mount Sinai, dating back to the 6th century. Why do some Christians reject icons? Many Protestants, since the Reformation, point to the second commandment: "You shall not make yourself a graven image." They worry that any image of God or the saints could lead to idolatry. But the Orthodox response is rooted in one truth, the Incarnation. If God had never become visible, then images of him would indeed be false. But Jesus Christ, fully God, became flesh and walked among us. To depict him is not idolatry, it is a testimony. Even the Ark of the Covenant in the Old Testament had carved cherubim above the mercy seat, divinely commanded images used in worship. This leads to the iconoclast heresy. In the 8th and 9th centuries, the Byzantine Empire fell into a great crisis. Under pressure from Islamic influence in the political unrest, emperors began to ban icons. This movement became known as iconoclasm, meaning image breaking. Many icons were destroyed, and monks who defended them were persecuted and even killed. But the church fought back, most powerfully the voice of St. John Damascus, who wrote, "I do not worship matter, I worship the creator of matter, who became matter for my sake." The controversy ended in 843 AD with the triumph of orthodoxy, which restored the veneration of icons in churches. This date, known as the Triumph of Orthodoxy, is still revered in the Orthodox Church as a feast day, where during the Divine Liturgy we commemorate those who fought against the heresy. Even with the condemnation of this heresy, iconoclasm would return. When the Ottoman Turks converted Hagia Sophia into a mosque, many of the mosaics, icons of Christ and the saints, were covered in plaster. Some remain hidden. Others have re-emerged and are visible today in the Hagia Sophia as art pieces. Going back before the Great Schism of 1054, icons were common across both East and West. But over time, the Western Church moved towards statues and more naturalistic images, while the Eastern Church preserved the symbolic, prayerful form of icons. Then came the Protestant Reformation in the 16th century. Reformers like Calvin and Zwingli rejected religious images entirely. In some regions, especially in the Balkans, Lutheran mobs attacked Orthodox monasteries, burning icons that had been preserved for centuries. The story and history of the destruction of Christian iconography inspired me to make my art. Typical of Orthodox Christians like myself, at our baptisms, we choose a patron saint. The patron saint that we choose is someone that we strive to live and resemble. My patron saint being Saint Paisos of Mount Athos. I chose to make an iconoclastic inspired icon of Saint Paisos, not only because he is my patron saint, but also because of the deep history of iconoclasm and his life as a monastic saint. Thanks to monastic communities like Mount Sinai in Egypt, but also Mount Athos in Greece. These monastic communities preserved ancient icons even during iconoclastic periods, like during the Byzantine iconoclastic period and during the Protestant Reformation. Before I reveal my art, I have a word from an Olympia High School Tawhid Orthodox Christian.
Hi, I'm Aman. I'm Ethiopian Orthodox, and icons mean a lot to me and my identity because they've helped me a lot through my spiritual journey. I've looked at them for guidance, for support emotionally and mentally, and they were a staple when I began my journey as a Christian.
Now for the icon that I have created. This icon of a famous picture of St. Paisos of Mount Athos is burned with scorch marks and has wax all over it. The reason for these details dates back to the Byzantine iconoclastic period, where iconoclastic people would burn icons, leaving scorch marks. For the wax from the candles comes from the deep-rooted tradition of using candles as a symbol of our prayers being raised to heaven.